Well. Welcome to the Profit Tool Belt podcast, just for contractors. Now, whether you serve commercial or residential customers, if you're interested in the business of the contracting business, then welcome. Look, I know you're here looking for straightforward, no BS answers. This show is all about getting to the next level by working smarter in your business, not just harder. We're using business tools to attack bottlenecks, right? And I want to get you and your team from chaos to clarity, very simple clarity. Today's guest is me. We're going to be talking about how to become the first or next millionaire in your family. Now, if you and I aren't connected on LinkedIn, we should be. Contact me there. My name's Dominic Rubino. It's spelled kind of like it sounds, I suppose, depending on how creative you are. You can also find me on Facebook. We've got a Facebook group called the Contractor Strategy Group. The name says it all. It might be the last valuable corner of Facebook, let's face it. The only people in there are business owners. It's pretty boring. The only thing we talk about are time, team, money, exit strategy, growth strategy, marketing, sales, pricing, how to deal with team problems, all that kind of stuff. Totally boring. But if you want to be in that group, all you have to do is go to Facebook, go to Contractor Strategy Group. It's a group. Enter your name. You have to apply to get in. And then if we accept you, you'll be in there and be able to ask questions of other business owners too. Hey, here's 3 reasons why today's episode is important on becoming the first millionaire in your family. I'm going to share my raw notes on how I've done it and how I've seen others do it, right? Number 2, like anything, it's only hard if you don't have a plan. And I'm going to give you the plan today. And number 3, I'm going to challenge your beliefs on money. I don't know what your beliefs are around money, but I'm going to challenge them. I believe money is a tool. Now, it's a tool to do good in this world, and I'll show you why and how. Now, if you have any interest at all in business coaching or in the professional development programs that we have, text me. All you got to do is text me. It's pretty low tech. Just shoot me a text. My cell phone number is 315-903-7853, and just say, Dom, let's talk. Then you know what we'll do. We'll talk. Now, but look, in a nutshell, this podcast is all about the mindset of growth and success for you as a business owner. Who doesn't want to be the first millionaire in your family? And there's probably a little more fire under your butt if you want to be the next one, right? But I just said mindset. And when I say mindset, it makes me think of dad jokes. Now, why dad jokes? And why bad jokes? And why dad jokes poorly delivered with poor timing? Because that's how I roll. I want to keep you smiling. I want to keep you engaged. And I want your mind to be open to the possibilities that we're going to be talking about here. There's like 7 or 8 points I want to go through. It's kind of punchy. It's definitely a shorter episode, but I want you to pick up what you need to pick up. In order to do that, I've got to clear the fog, the smoke, the static noise from your mind and get you focused on this. So pattern break coming. It's the joke time. First, I'm going to tell you a story. Then I'll tell you some jokes. The story is one about the ant and the grasshopper. Now, many of you have heard this, probably heard this as a sermon, or maybe as a kid, it was read to you at kindergarten, but it holds true, right? There's this really beautiful meadow, right? Beautiful meadow up in the mountains. Makes me think of elk hunting as soon as I say that. But let's say there's this beautiful meadow. There's an ant and a grasshopper, and they live right next to each other. Now, all summer long, the ant just works and works and works to gather food and store it in its nest. The grasshopper spends his days singing and enjoying the warm weather, right? How many times have you gone out at night and you still hear the grasshoppers cricketing? The crickets cricketing, right? But the ants are still working away. Well, the grasshopper looks over at his friend, the ant, and says, why are you working so hard? Come, join me. Enjoy the summer. And the ant says, winter's coming. I have to prepare for difficult times that are coming. Well, the grasshopper doesn't listen. And when winter comes, the meadow's covered in snow and food, of course, becomes pretty hard to get. It's scarce. But by this point, the ant had plenty of food stored and lived very comfortably through the winter. But the grasshopper had nothing to eat and regretted that he didn't prepare for the future. And the grasshopper learned a valuable lesson from the ant. Growing wealth is not about immediate gratification. It's not. It requires hard work, foresight, planning for the future. Being diligent, prepare for those lean times, can also ensure that you are successful in the future. And I want to add something else there. Your kids are watching. Your grandkids are watching. They want to see how you do what you do, and they're either going to take you as a lesson or a potential don't do this. So do the things knowing that your family's watching. Build the wealth in your family so you can build a legacy. Maybe you don't have to be the first millionaire in your family, but why not get everybody else set on the right path, right? If you want to know more about this, I have another episode, and I got to tell you, I think the episode went totally unnoticed. I could tell by the episode statistics. The reason is the title doesn't really match up with the topic. The topic is how to make more money and get to the next level as a contractor. It's a Christmas gift from Dom to you. Now, here on the Profit Tool Belt, it's episode 224 on December 12th. On Cabinet Maker Profit System, it's a different episode number, but look for that episode. It's called How to Make More Money and Get to the Next Level as a Contractor, a Christmas gift from Dom to you. That came out in December of 2024. The book that I'm referring to in that is called The Greatest Salesman in the World. And that book takes you through an incredible journey with a crazy twist right at the end. And I will say this again, and I said it in that particular episode, if you have even a shred of faith inside your brain, you're going to love that book. Anyways, let me get back to the jokes. Hey, what do millionaires eat for breakfast? Fortune cookies. Why did the Scarecrow become a millionaire? Because he was outstanding in his field. And then I got bored. I went on a fishing trip to Denver. My son was playing lacrosse. And so I had some time. I wasn't driving on this particular stretch. And I thought, I'm going to write a limerick for the next episode. So I wrote a limerick because, what else am I going to do? Right. So I wrote a limerick about being the first millionaire in your family. Here it is. There once was a man with a goal to rise up from the depths of a hole. With books in his hand, he took a firm stand. Now a millionaire, he's on a roll. Wah, wah, wah. Look, stay until the end of the show, right? So we're going to do my training piece right now, but stay to the end of the show. I've got a specific training segment where I'm going to simplify and solve a common business problem for you. And remember, at any time, you can always just shoot me a text and say, Dom, let's talk. My cell phone number, 315-903-7853. Let's get to it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today, we're going to be talking about something kind of cool, something interesting. It's actually a question that came from somebody inside the Facebook group called Contractor Strategy Group. And they said, how can I be the first millionaire in my family? So now we made the topic of this, how to be the first millionaire in your family. And look, you can get to being a millionaire any way you want. And you have to want to be a millionaire first. But maybe you didn't have the people around you when you grew up, thinking about your kitchen table, who could guide you towards that. Maybe you didn't have business owners in your family, like at your kitchen table or, on Thanksgiving when everybody got together, nobody to look up to as a business owner who was already there and making those kinds of decisions and thinking the way that successful people think. And I'm going to use money as that measure of success. You may have other measures of success, faith, family, fitness, politics, whatever you like to do, right? But let's say money in this case, being a millionaire is something that you really want. Why not show the world you can do it? Why not be the first person? Maybe you didn't get to be the first person in your family who graduated or went to college, but you can easily, probably more easily, be the first person to become a millionaire. I know that in my life, when I grew up, my dad was a welder and my mom worked for the city. So they didn't really talk business at the kitchen table either. I had to go learn all this stuff. I bought books. I took courses. Oh, you guys don't understand how many courses I took and how many books I read. I was constantly reading, not to overshare, but if there were 2 bathrooms in the house, I had 2 books going at the same time. Picking up what I'm putting down there, right? Just constantly reading, constantly learning. And I was really careful about who I hung out with. I'll get to that in a second. There's 7 or 8 points here I want to share with you if you want to be the first millionaire in your family. First one, make a plan, make a decision, then make a plan. You have to really want this, right? So do you really want this? And it's okay if you waver in and out of it over time, and maybe you go through different phases of your life. That's fine. But if you're always moving in that general direction, you'll find that you're going to attract more people around you who are also moving in that same direction. What you're going to come to find out is that the people you hang out with, the people you associate with, the people you allow to associate with you has a big impact on your success. Really big. I mean, listening to this show is one of those tools. You're hanging out here with myself and everybody else who listens, and you just start to think the way we all think, right? Number 1A is your mindset. Let's just jump to that. Is you have to start to think and act like a millionaire would think and act. Now, here's decision time. You can choose to be a good guy or you can choose to be a bad guy. Both systems work. Apparently, I know because every once in a while I run across the bad guys and they don't seem to be suffering. But you have to choose. Do you want to be a good guy millionaire or do you want to be a bad guy millionaire? Man, woman, doesn't matter to me, right? You decide. And you decide in your heart and in your soul which one of those two you want to be. And by the way, if you decide to be a bad guy millionaire, lose my number. I don't want to talk to you. There's enough good guy millionaires out there that I'm going to be very happy the rest of my life never meeting you, right? One of the things I learned from my old business partner, a gentleman named Brian Tracy. Now, Brian Tracy is a massive name in the world of business, business improvement, the mindset of success, selling, the art of selling, the psychology of selling. He's a real interesting mix of philosopher and done that kind of guy. And somebody challenged him on stage once, one of these kind of woke people like, Brian, all you ever talk about is making more money and being more successful. What about the poor people in this world? How can you take care of them? And I remember I was in the wings, right? I was off stage, off to the left or the right, whatever, the side. And I'm like, ooh, this sounds like a doozy question. Wonder how he's going to answer this. He didn't even break a beat. He just said, you know what? The best way to help the people who have less is to not be one of them. Brian Tracy's a good guy millionaire. He's there. He's like, I can help more people. I can donate to more charities, churches, or school groups or sports groups if I've got the money to do it. I can sponsor a kid who comes from a one-parent family who can't afford to play football or dance or lacrosse or cheer or baseball. I can sponsor that kid if I have the money to do that. So I can help more people who are below income by not being one of them. Right. So again, I'm going to come back to this. Your mindset has to be at the very beginning. You have to choose whether you're going to be a good guy millionaire or a bad guy millionaire. And you already know my opinion on that. The number two, and this is even more important than anything else, it's going to be for some of you, this is crazy. You have to know your customer. I don't care that you're really, really good at framing pergolas. If nobody in your area wants a pergola, use your skills another way. If you're really good at a certain type of roof, but nobody wants that or it doesn't have an application, you're going to have to go find what people want, right? You're going to have to really temper your own enthusiasm and ego. Yeah, there's something to be said for creating a new product and going out there and building a market. But I'll tell you what, most successful businesses look very boring from the outside because they're repeatable and they run on simple systems. It doesn't have, as a matter of fact, complicated businesses are usually less profitable. Simple businesses are usually massively profitable. So you have to know your customer. What does your customer really want? What does your customer really need? What is a problem that your customer has that they can't solve unless they find you? I don't want to hear from anybody. Oh, this product, everybody needs it. This service, everybody needs it. No. I don't want that. I want the kind of product or service that a very few people need or want, and they're willing to pay a premium to have it fixed. For a moment, while you're listening to this, imagine that you're home. Imagine you're sitting on your couch, you're watching your favorite show. And then what I want you to do is take a drone and I want you to fly straight up in the air. And I want you to take that drone as high up as it'll go, 300, 600 feet. Let's say you got a really good drone and it goes 1,000 feet in the air. That drone has a camera on it and you can see the neighborhood around you, see all the houses around you. Let me ask you this question. That drone is 1,000 feet in the air. How many ladders can it count by looking down in your neighborhood 1,000 feet up? How many people own a ladder in your neighborhood? How many people own a toolkit? How many people know how to use a drill? How many people know how to change their oil? It's crazy, right? Not many. And then let's look at the people that have ladders and have toolkits and have some tools around the house, and maybe they're handy. How many of them have the time? How long does it take for the average person in your neighborhood to drive to work? Now, if you live in a rural area, you're laughing. You're like, well, it takes 7 minutes. But if you live in any size of city, it takes a half an hour to get to work and a half an hour to get back. A bigger city, it takes an hour to get to work and an hour to get back. That's 2 hours out of that person's life. And by the way, pick up the kids and go get them to baseball. And you're going to eat dinner at 9:30 tonight. Those people are willing to trade money for time because they can't fix the things that you think are easy to do. So the better you understand your customers, the better you can serve others. And when you serve others, you get paid to solve their problems. That's how you make your way to being a millionaire, by serving others. That's why I said, be a good guy. Gee, let's start there. Be a good guy. Number 3, edumacation. Get yourself smartified. Education has to be one one of the key tools that you've got in your toolbox for success. If you want to be the first millionaire in your family or the next millionaire in your family, you're going to have to get educated. You can't rely on luck. You can't say, well, I buy a lottery ticket every week. That should do it. Sure. Let's say you win the lottery, but you don't know how to invest money. You don't know the power of money. You don't know how to use money. You let money use you. Well, that money is going to be gone before you know it. When you're wise, truly wise with your money, with your investments, with the way of seeing the world, pulling apart problems, and wise because you've learned, you've listened, you've taken courses, you've read books, you've gotten yourself educated. Education is the most powerful thing you can do to change the legacy of your family name. If you want to be the first millionaire in your family, go out there and start to learn. Now, there's a fine line here. Like, you can go out and be a university professor and make whatever a university professor makes because they've gone down the path of theory in their education. I'm talking about the reality of education. Start to read books like my old business partner, Brian Tracy. Read my book, Construction Millionaire Secrets. I mean, the title kind of says it all, right? Start to read Tony Robbins. Start to read Michael Gerber. Start to read Mike Michalowicz. Start to read those kind of books and get your headspace where the contractor's headspace needs to be. Start to understand how balance sheets work, how to estimate for profits with confidence or walk away from the job. There's books and there's courses that you can take to help you on that, and they're not expensive. They're not. If you go into anything thinking it's expensive, you're not understanding the return on investment. Think about your youngest child and think about them getting their first car. Now, it's your youngest child. They're going to get their first car. So you want them to be in something safe, right? You probably want airbags. You want it to be reliable so they don't break down on the highway and have to be, susceptible to whoever comes along next. We don't want them at risk. So you're thinking about the first car you could buy your kid. You could go buy a car for $500. There's lots of $500 cars around there. But do you want the risk of a $500 car with your youngest child in it? There's no airbags. It's a jalopy. It's broken down. It's ready to go. It's on its last legs. Do you want your kid having that? So you say, no, Rubino, why would I want that? No, $500 cars are off. They're off the table. And you start to move up the scale to a point where your budget and your comfort level start to match. It's the same for education. Why would you get no education? Why would you spend the least amount on education? You want the safety and security of knowing that education is going to work. So sometimes we offer courses. Sometimes you have to qualify for the different courses here, but we know they work. Go take one from Tony Robbins. Go take one from anybody. Just move yourself along the scale. Move your chess piece forward. Education. Now, be picky about your education. Find somebody who's been there and done that, but take the courses and read the books. I've read so many books, it's not even funny. And if one of the things I recognized in writing my book, Construction Millionaire Secrets, and remember, I wrote that book by being in the boardrooms and construction trailers of other companies all around the world, not just North America. But I would walk into a contractor in Brazil, the president of a Brazilian contracting company. I didn't know what the titles were, but there are a lot of books on that dude's shelf. The same as there would be in Tucson, Arizona, or Tacoma, Washington. A lot of books on that guy's shelf. What's the consistent thing here? Find ways to educate yourself. Okay, that's point number 3. Point number 4, it's kind of a weird one, but this is the best I can say it. Be patient, but be impatient at the same time. It's really easy to look at yourself and say, oh, it's not going fast enough. I want it to be faster. That's actually the perfect answer. You do want it to be faster. One of the things that I've recognized here is that the best results come from people who have an internal drive. You don't rely on your business coach or your mentor or advisor to motivate you. You need somebody who's motivated themselves. They've got an internal drive to do more. If you're listening to this show, you already qualify. I already know that about you. I can assume that. Yeah, maybe it flickers on and off, but more often than not, you've got an internal drive that your friends, your cousins, maybe your spouse says, what makes you tick? Because other people don't think the way you do. And that's why I come back to be patient, but be impatient. Here's something that I've been writing down a lot when I do my daily affirmations and my goals. This one here. Push everyone for more, faster, and better. Push everyone for more, faster, and better. One of the things that we need to do is shorten the timelines. Successful people take action. They get things done. They just do things faster. Where it takes somebody else a week, you would do it in a day. Where it takes somebody else a day, you do it with one quick phone call while you're going to do something else. You take action. And so be patient, but be impatient at the same time. I go back to point number one, make a plan and work the plan. For bigger companies, we use the EOS model of strategic planning. That's the plan. For smaller companies, we build 90-day strategic plans. But notice, regardless of the size of the business, they still have a plan. Operating without a plan is absolute foolishness. Foolishness. Let's say that you're a football fan, let's just say. And let's say that you're on the couch and you're watching the game this weekend. The camera pans over to your favorite team and they're playing your worst rival. Your favorite team comes to the field and the announcer says, hey, what's up with the coaching staff? They don't have any of their playbooks. They've got no coaching staff. Coaching staff looks disinterested. And then they pan over to the competitors and there they are. They're ready to go. They got their playbooks. The coaches are chewing gum like it's going out of style, like they're trying to start a fire with it. And they're just itching and ready to go. Which team is going to win that game? It's the same for you and I in business, my friend. It just is. You gotta have that plan, right? Okay, number 5 feels like a repeat, but it's not. I want you to make sure you're hanging out with the right people. Now, it's easy for you to listen to on the podcast or on the YouTube and go, oh, okay, yeah, I'll just hang out with the right people. Sorry, bud. What it really means is you're going to have to stop hanging out with the wrong people. Look around you at the people who are negative influences, and you're going to have to find a polite way to return their calls a little bit less. Now, you don't have to. You don't have to, but remember the name of this episode, How to Be the First Millionaire in Your Family, or How to Be the Next Millionaire in Your Family. If you want to do that, you have to hang out with the right people. Now, we're not talking about the quality of people. I just mean the direction that people are moving in, right? Imagine that you wanted to lose weight. Let's just imagine, right? And so you thought, well, I want to lose weight. So I want to start eating better and exercising differently. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang out with the chili champions in my city or the ice cream tasters, right? Or I'm going to hang out with people that drink as much beer as they can every weekend until they fall over. How's that going to help you on your journey to losing weight? Or would you say, yeah, I'm going to join a running club. I'm going to learn to swim. Maybe I'll go to a CrossFit class. I'm not going to be as crazy as the top athletes, but I'm going to give it a try. Which one of those plans is going to work for you? And what you're doing is you're hanging out with the right people, with the right attitude, the right mindset. Now, you don't have to change everything about yourself, but slowly you're going to start to be more like the marathon runner, the CrossFitter, the swimmer, because you're hanging out with swimmers. You're hanging out with CrossFitters. You're hanging out with people that do workouts. Nothing wrong, by the way, with being really good on the barbecue, but you could see what I mean. There's just a different group. You have to choose to be in the millionaire group or the group that you think is going to one day be the millionaire group, right? And that does mean you're going to have to really look carefully at who you hang out with, who you associate with, who you allow to associate with you. All right, the next part, number 6 here, for getting yourself to be the first or next millionaire in your family is numbers. Now, let me start by saying I'm not a great numbers guy, but I am a data guy. I love to look at the information and let the information tell me what I need to see. And I need to pay attention to it because whenever I ignore the numbers, I get in a lot of trouble, usually financial trouble. When I ignore the numbers too bad, I have to explain to my wife why we're eating macaroni and cheese for the next 6 months. Nobody wants to do that twice, right? So if you want to be the next millionaire in your family, you got to look at your numbers. Take profitable jobs by marketing to the right customer and selling them the right kind of jobs. Make sure that your operations are good. Make sure that people aren't overbilling you. I just had a client today who found out that one of his subcontractors just randomly increased their prices, just increased it without telling them. Well, you got to go back and have a conversation. It's an awkward conversation, which also starts with, hey, bud, I appreciate that you want to increase your prices, but you have to tell me that first. You can't just invoice me and expect it. And it is, again, hanging out with the right people. How hard is it to find the right subs? You got to go through a lot of subs to find the right sub. You got to go through a lot of electricians or drywallers to find the right drywaller, right? It takes a lot. It's the same as picking your friends very carefully. On the numbers thing, I want to double down on something. You need the right jobs for the right customers sold at the right price. Please write that down if you can. If you're driving, don't do that, but find a way to get this down on paper so you can look at it again. I need to sell the right jobs to the right customers for the right price. You're not going to make $1 million a year selling one job a year and marking it up $1 million. But you have to decide, are you going to do 100 jobs a year, 500 jobs a year, 23 jobs a year? What is it? How can you make the money you need focusing on giving value to others first? If you are a problem solver, then the world will return to you hundredfold. If you're a problem maker, people will run from you. And you already know that to be true in your own life, right? Remember, you have the choice to be a good guy millionaire or a bad guy millionaire. I only talk to the good guy millionaires, just so we're doubly, no, that would be triply clear now, right? Number 7, keep learning. If you just want to reinvent the wheel, that's all ego. If you want to be a millionaire in your family, the first millionaire in your family, you got to keep learning. You can't just read one book or take one course. You have to be committed to lifelong learning. Find a way. If you're not getting what you want out of a course or a book or a coach that you're working with, that's fine. Go find another one. Don't say coaching doesn't work. Have you ever had somebody in your family who says, yeah, I failed grade 12 because I didn't like my science teacher? What? What kind of blame and excuses is that? That is exactly the kind of person in your family who will never be a millionaire. They're just not going to be. They're not going to be a millionaire. They're not going to be the next millionaire. They are going to be the greatest excuse maker in the world. I'm looking for those people with internal drive who are going to join us in the Millionaire Club. Imagine what you could do if you were the first millionaire in your family. You could start a fund that allowed everybody with your last name to eventually go to college one day or start their own business one day. Imagine what you could do. As a matter of fact, send me a message. Tell me what you'd do if you were the first or next millionaire in your family. All right. So know your numbers, understand your numbers, dig into the numbers. And once you know the numbers, let the numbers be your guide. Let the data be your guide. Number 7, of course, keep learning. Reinventing the wheel is all ego. Use wisdom instead. All right. And number 8, let me ask you, what did I miss? What did I miss in how to become the first millionaire in your family? You'll notice that I didn't talk about roofing. I didn't talk about kitchen cabinets. I didn't talk about cabinet installs. I didn't talk about commercial millwork. And I didn't talk about heavy equipment. I didn't talk about being a GC or a sub. I didn't talk about commercial or residential work. Why is that? Because it doesn't matter. You choose the tool you want to choose. You can get there. You can absolutely get there. I mean, look around you for evidence. There's a really well-known franchise called 1-800-GOT-JUNK. They have franchises all over the world. Now, I used to do work for 1-800-GOT-JUNK, and Brian Scudamore is a friend of mine. He hauls junk. How many times do you drive down the street and you see some jalopy being followed by the police because they're going to pull it over for being illegal? And on the side, hand painted, it says, "We haul junk." And junk is spelled Jink. We haul junk. And hold on a second. That's got zero barrier to entry. And yet Brian Scudamore built a global phenomenon business hauling junk, which he then spun off into a painting company, a moving company, a pressure washing company. Hold on a second. None of those have a high barrier to entry. They're easy to get into, and yet he did it. And he did it by following the same formula: focus, attention, focusing on the numbers, hanging out with the right people, having the right mentors, getting the right input into your head, having a plan, working the plan, all of those things, educating himself. You can do the same. Doesn't matter. Fences, pergolas, decks. You build pools, you remove pools. You do heavy excavation or you don't. All of those things are possible. So let's get you there. Anyways, thank you very much for checking in. I look forward to hearing your feedback. And let me know, are you going to be the first millionaire in your family, or are you going to be the next millionaire in your family? Find a way to send me a message. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Thanks for checking in, folks. Have a great day. Well. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat there. Maybe it's the grasshopper from the intro. What did you learn in our discussion today about how to become the first millionaire in your family? Or, like I said, the next millionaire in your family. I went through 7 or 8 points. Which one of those points are you going to act on right now? You notice how much on this show we talk about the mindset of success, thinking differently than everybody else, right? We talk about hanging out with the right kind of people, other people who are marching forward every day on this path towards success. I actually think about what people see, right? There's a saying that I love, and I coined this many years ago. what I say to myself when no one is listening is what the world sees when everyone is watching. I want my kids to know that I'm on the path to success. Success doesn't have to mean money. It can be success in sports, in being a great dad or mom. It can be success, whatever you want success to be. But make sure you're setting yourself up for success, not failure. Hang out with the right people, read the right books, listen to the right audios, just be around those kind of people, the people who do good in this world. You heard me talk about being a good guy or a bad guy millionaire. I don't care which one you choose, but I do care whether you contact me or not. Pretty clear about that. I'm too old now. I don't have time for bad guys. Go pound sand. Hey, I want to read you a quick email that we got from clearly a great guy. His name's Jason. Jason actually is the first person to sign up for the bootcamp alumni program. And you can see why. I'm going to read you an excerpt from his email. Now, Jason was in the Construction Millionaire Bootcamp, which many of you have researched before and decided to do. Some of you have decided not to. That's always fine. It's one of the coaching programs we do. It's typically for businesses that are on the growth path of saying, hey, how do I become a millionaire in my business? This is the part of the path, hanging out with the right people, learning the right things, getting the fundamental tools, pricing properly, estimating, mindset, all of those things, right? Anyways, this is the email that he sent myself and the coaches when he finished boot camp. Now, in order to get into the alumni program, you have to go through boot camp. So it's not for everybody. But in order to get into the alumni program, you have to be invited. It's not an open, what do they call it? A cattle call, like everybody's welcome. It's not. It's a pretty fine filter on purpose. I'm happy with it. Anyways, Jason decided that he wanted to do this as his way of showing that he's serious and committed to the growth of his business. I'm not going to share his last name. You'll meet him inside the alumni program if you ever go through boot camp and qualify to get in. But here is what he said. Hey, Dom. Hey, Lee. Thank you so much for the boot camp and your time. I can't believe how far I've come in 6 weeks. It feels long and short at the same time. I guess it does, right? 6 weeks when you're starting sounds like a long time. And then when you're done, you're like, well, that was 6 weeks. It went so quick. I have to ask myself, how many times have I burned through and wasted 6 weeks, 6-week chunks of my life, right? I'll continue on with his email. After dealing with some serious family issues last week, getting back in town from Colorado and 2 full days in the field, I have the opportunity to sit down and email you my 90-day plan. So let me stop here for a second. Folks, when you do the Construction Millionaire Bootcamp, the format follows a path. The path takes you through the fundamentals of building your business so it runs profitably, serves the right client, and serves you and your needs as the business owner. The very final module, which is the final week, in week 6, is how to build your own 90-day plan. So yeah, it's a 6-week mastermind group where you learn all these fundamentals, but then we don't just leave you and go, well, that was the last class, off you go. No, there's a 90-day plan. Any serious business has a plan. And so we build ourselves to that plan. So then you've got a 90-day, 3-month plan to continue on with. That's also the point of time you can choose to join the alumni program. You don't have to, and you might not qualify. But if you do, then this is what Jason's talking about. So here, I'll get back to his email. My 90-day plan will be focusing on my 3 big leaks. He's talking about profit leaks, getting consistent leads, creating accurate estimates, creating a healthy budget, and knowing my numbers. Of course, there are so many other areas such as culture and systems that'll be a constant focus, but these 3 are my high priority right now. And then he goes through and he says, okay, my priority number 1 is leads. And then he lists all the things he's going to do to generate the right kind of work that generates the right kind of business with the right kind of profits for his business, right? I won't read it all, but he says, over the next 90 days, I have to get more leads and consistent leads. Nothing else matters if I can't start getting more business. And then what he lists here are the things that he learned in the boot camp. Because of course, what do we train there? How to get business now. Something you might not know, but the course Construction Millionaire Bootcamp used to have a different name. It used to be called 30-Day Construction Business, how to get your business from 0 to running in 30 days. We renamed it many years ago, but when you know the history, you'll know the flavor of the training. It's all very punchy. It's to the point. It runs you through do this, then do that. So that's what he talks about in that segment. Then his priority number 2 is create accurate estimates. You guys heard me talk about this before when I was talking about the summary. Make sure that you're doing the right jobs for the right customers that are sold at the right price. That also includes walking away if somebody's busting your chops too much. There's no use taking a job just to stay busy. And I know you're going to say, but Dom, you don't understand. I finally got the right team. I finally got the right guys. If I don't keep them working, I'm going to lose them to somebody else. Well, go talk to your guys and say, look, guys, I got a great job for us. I think we're going to have to wait 2 days. Are you okay to wait 2 days? And if they say yes, if they say no, hop out of your truck and start knocking on doors. Go get them jobs, power washing driveways. I get them working if that's what you got to do. But if they're going to give you that 2 days for the next great job to start, take that, right? Anyways, creating accurate estimates. I'll read a little bit about what he said here. This is almost directly from the course. Pre-qualify leads with a price range, to make sure that you're only dealing with people who can and are willing to pay, and that it's the actual decision maker. Such a simple concept, right? Better understand the problem that we're solving, what that means to the customer. Remember in today's episode, I talked about that. Know your customer. What does your customer care about? And solve their problems. If you're a problem solver, you'll make all the money you want in this world. If you're a problem creator, maybe unsubscribe from the show. You're not in the right place. How about this one? Mark up my materials 50% and start moving to 100% as I feel more comfortable. So I don't mind giving this little insight. Some of you are shaking your head. I can never mark up my materials that much. Well, that's fine. We'll get you there. Have some faith. There is logic, but we need you to run this business like a millionaire would run the business, right? But let's say that you're already marking up your materials 50% and you don't really feel comfortable raising your rates. Okay, here's the very simple business coaching tool that we've learned over the years. Keep estimating your jobs at 50%, but on the next job you estimate, I want you to try to estimate it. No, sorry, let me back up. I want you to estimate it at 51%. And when you start winning jobs at 51%, start to estimate jobs at 52% materials markup, and then 53% materials markup. If you have the patience, we'll stick with you to make sure you get where you need to get to. But when you start to see that you're not really encountering resistance in the field, then you'll go, well, I didn't get resistance at 53%. Why don't I just jump to 63% and see what happens? See what happened there? You just did a 10% jump. That margin, that extra profit is what you take home to your kitchen table. That extra profit margin lets you hire another person. That other person now has a job, and when Thanksgiving comes around, he or she has the money to buy a turkey for their table. Money is a tool to help others if you use it like a good guy, right? And Jason goes on to say some other things here in the heading of estimating properly. Use my go back calculator to estimate costs. You guys have heard me say this before, but stop thinking that you have to pay for a project manager. You have to pay for a foreman. No. I would love to show you how the world will pay for your foreman. The world will pay for your Mercedes Sprinter. The world will pay for your next building because you're going to add value. That's what we talk about when we're talking about being a millionaire. It's changing your mindset, right? Anyways, priority number 3 for Jason, create a healthy budget and know my numbers, which we talked about here as well. Isn't it funny? It matches exactly what's in the course. How to become a millionaire? Well, follow the system, right? There's a system. People are showing you the system everywhere. It's not just me. If you don't like my message, go find it from somebody else. But if you really want to be a millionaire, find some system and follow it. Okay. Know your numbers. We talked about right jobs for the right customer sold at the right price. There it is again. And Jason repeats it here when he says, in the next 90 days, I got to get this bolted down. And then he said, my ultimate 90-day goal is to generate enough leads, customers, and revenue to bring on the things I need in the business to help me grow. And guess what? He then took action. So we invited him. Lee and I invited him to be in the alumni program. So he's already registered for that. For those of you who come through the boot camp in the future, you'll probably have a chance to meet Jason there. So because he knows now that education, hanging out with the right people, doing the right things is the path to take a step forward every day. All right, let's continue on. We're going to simplify and solve a common business problem. And I'm going to use Jason's example there to talk about it. He talked about the 3 things that he needed to do, right? Create a healthy budget, know his numbers, create accurate estimates, and then get more of the right leads. So all of those actually dovetail underneath the headings of getting back in control of your time, your team, and your money. And so I have a training that we're doing. It's free. It's a masterclass on time, team, and money. It'll take a little over an hour to go through all of the points. And you can test out whether you like to be on the path of learning. if you've never done this before. Do yourself a favor, though. Make sure you're sitting somewhere where you can pay attention and take notes. If you're not, that's on you. You're the one who's in control of your schedule. Because if you don't control your schedule, somebody else will. As a matter of fact, we talk about time management in the masterclass. So join me in the masterclass. If you want to be in there, if you want to learn more about time, team, and money, specifically for contractors, for people in the construction trades, because it's very different for us than everybody else, right? So there's time management tools that you might read in a normal time management book that you buy at the airport. But that's not a contractor specific set of tools or examples or worksheets. And that's what we share here in the training. Anyways, if you want to be on there, love to have you. There's no cost. You come in there, you hang out, you take some notes. If you're interested in talking further, reach out to us and we'll talk further. But at that point, you're just learning. We're putting something back into the universe and trying to be helpful. Send me a text message. Just say waitlist. That's pretty simple. My cell phone number is 315-903-7853. Just say waitlist. And then that way I'll know that you want to be on the time, team, and money masterclass. How does that sound? Thank you very much for checking in. I really hope that inspired you. You probably are going to be the next millionaire or the first millionaire in your family just because you're already doing the things you need to do. Every day, take one more step forward. Look, this podcast is just a replacement for one day you and I sitting across the table having a cup of coffee or a glass of wine. And I look forward to that more than you'll ever know. Until then, have a great day. Maybe we'll see you on the masterclass. We'll have a chance to say hi face to face there. It's a good start, right? All right. Thanks for checking in, folks. Have a great day.